What's the worst ice cream you can get?
Oh man. Like, okay. Are we talking like spectrum of normal ice cream flavors, or like you're going to a
I'm not
place that
saying
has
like, I'm saying you can either go somewhere and order the worst ice cream, or you can go to like the freezer aisle at your local grocer and pick it up.
Man, I don't
This
know.
is not that difficult.
It is. 'Cause
I mean,
I love most ice cream. So
This is not difficult.
So I agree. It's not difficult. I know the general one that I would say, but I will say I went to school in Columbia, Missouri, at the University of Missouri. There is a place called Sparky's that was an ice cream shop, and at one point they had cicada ice cream.
Oh no.
That was made out of ground up cicadas. People really liked it. It was a very limited time thing. I never got it. Yeah, I guess.
That does not sound good.
People seem to like it. I really liked their mango.
Was that a sorbet or sherbet?
Yeah.
You know the secret ingredient, Chase?
Oh no! Damn it! they got me.
Listen.
No, the correct answer is mint chocolate chip.
That is the absolute.
Get that shit out of here.
Like, I love mint chocolate chip.
Mint chocolate chip is the absolute worst fucking ice cream out there.
If I wanted that, I'd just brush my teeth. Like get the fuck. No, we're talking about ice cream over here.
There could be. I mean, I would literally just pass. No, thank you. Like, get it out of here. I don't want to fucking see it.
I'll eat it. It's not
my first choice.
Like, I'm not a monster. I'm not going to
I'll tell you. Oh, I will.
But
I'll tell them to take their fucking pale green ice cream and shove it. And I want nothing. I want absolutely nothing to do with a Shamrock Shake either. Fuck that noise.
I'm with you.
Why are you at McDonald's to begin with?
I mean, the machine's always broken anyway. You're
Johnny, don't act like you're fucking above a McDonald's. So you get fucking $36 DoorDash Taco Bell. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, good food.
I will say my mom likes to make peppermint bark for around the holiday season.
I just love mint.
Maybe and I'm kind of the same way. It's like, man, you kind of ruined this nice chocolate with all of this terrible peppermint. Why would you do that?
Oh man, I love it. That's one of my favorite things.
I hate her.
And holidays, cup of peppermint tea. God damn.
The other thing I'll call out that like very different, but in the same vein of like the old bait and switch, is when you think you're gonna like if you go to get something that is like supposed to be like a custard or a vanilla and it ends up being a lemon.
Oh yeah,
I'm not opposed to lemon stuff, but then like
you should know that you're getting lemon.
I'm telling you, man, you can put a lemon bar next to a piece of gooey butter cake, and you might not know.
Yeah, it's like if you just drink a clear liquid thinking it's water and then it's vodka and you're like whoa,
oh yeah,
or
like
that come from?
A cookie that like a sugar cookie that ends up being like a lemon cookie or something. Like it's easy to do. Don't act like this is not a thing that happens.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you know, the lemon cookie is going to be a bit more yellow than a sugar cookie. But if you're just grabbing randomly, if it's covered in powdered sugar,
I'm just eating things in the dark with my eyes closed.
I'll let you know, Johnny. Sometimes.
You know what? Also, not a big fan of Neapolitan. Pick a side.
Yeah,
you can't be all things to all people. Be one thing.
I had
to the cookie chase.
I had a roommate in college that would buy Neapolitan ice cream and only eat one flavor of it. I'm like, just buy the flavor.
That's ridiculous.
I might want chocolate.
Well, I'm like, so do I get the chocolate slice? Like, who gets the like? It's just ridiculous.
I got a call here in the chat, avocado ice cream, and I'm over here. I've never seen that before, but get your vegetables out of my ice cream.
I would try that.
I don't even like guacamole.
I've had an avocado
matcha flavored ice cream.
Fuck matcha.
I've never had matcha.
Go eat grass.
So good.
Touch the grass and then eat it.
There's a sushi place in the Central West End that has this green tea ice cream, and it is so
green tea is fine.
So now tea I'm all about.
Yeah, I'll fuck tea. I'll drink some green tea.
Put some leaves in water. Call it.
One of my favorite things that my wonderful wife has done to give me a good laugh at her. We went someplace that had a matcha latte. And she's like, that looks delicious. I'm going to get it. And she hated every drop of it. Despite I had to watch her choke that thing down. It's terrible. Get out of here.
Delicious.
Speaking of things that are terrible, welcome to the Casual Hour. Johnny's here. I'm Bobby.
Among savages.
Chase, how are you?
Uncultured swine.
I'm great.
Better than matcha lattes. Johnny, how are you?
I'm all right.
I'd like to.
Video games out right now.
We haven't had as the clock ticks closer to midnight.
90 seconds now.
Because you were sick. I've upped the Be Nice to Johnny to accommodate your sins.
I got COVID, and your response is to make it more expensive.
Yeah.
For people to pay you guys to say nice things about me.
Yes.
That's fucked up.
Well, that's the show.
Right to me.
This is what you've been.
Quit looking. Quit dancing around, and just make it $1 million.
You keep talking that way. We'll see where it goes.
Or get off the pot, as Big John likes to say.
Well, Little John's going to end up getting more points if he keeps it up. This is the Casual Hour. Tonight is a What You've Been Playing episode. We've got a few things to discuss. We're going to run down a bunch of games tonight. I'm not going to list all of them because there's a lot, but we're going to talk on the news around the Avengers game. We're going to talk, unfortunately, about some of the layoffs that's been happening. We're going to talk about Stadia one last time. We've got that whole Microsoft event that happened today, and we've got some spicy drama happening with the video game. Industry drama. So, but I will let you know one game that I think we'll be talking about, and I'm going to just keep my eye on one thing here. Yeah, that's right. Fire Emblem Engage. So why don't we engage?
It was interesting.
Chase, what is your hour count? This game came out 5 days ago.
Friday. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
42.
Oh boy.
42
you did it.
hours.
Would you like to know mine?
Sure.
17.
I think I'm around 10. It's been a week at work for me. I've been very tied down with other things, unfortunately, this week that has kept me from playing as much of that game as I like to. But let's tell you why we've been putting an absurd.
I also haven't played as much of that game as I'd like to. But
yeah, same here.
A new Fire Emblem game is here, Chase, and this makes you happy. Tell those friends of ours out there listening why that makes you happy.
I think it's good.
I'm waiting for it.
Yeah.
I think it's a good one.
Nothing?
No, but
holy shit.
I will say some of the cast members, the party members that you have,
fucking
about
suck.
About half of them really get on my nerves.
Here's the good news, though. Yeah, half of them kind of suck, but I read there's 36 of them.
Yeah,
I only have 30. I only have 32 at the moment.
I think in the end,
I
will have a solid group of people I can call upon to vanquish my enemies.
You're never well, maybe you'll get some at some point. I haven't seen any more than 12 slots open for a single fight. So I've got 12 trained fucking killers, and that's my crew. And then I've got like a couple bench guys who I'm like, if I need to call in somebody else, I can bring you in. And then I just have like a field of never want to see or talk to you ever again.
Yeah.
Why don't you just sit there and think about what you did?
I gotta give that Micaiah ring to someone other than Yunaka.
Yeah, you'll find somebody else to give that to her.
Yeah. Man, I look, I don't want to speak too soon here, but I really love this game so far.
It's fantastic. They have made a very focused and streamlined Fire Emblem game, and I like that.
It's much more akin to Awakening and Echoes.
So I think it's interesting. Compared to Three Houses, the previous mainline Fire Emblem game that came out, there is a certain stripped down quality to this. I remember in Three Houses, I liked it at the time, but going back and trying to replay that game or do another route, I got very bored and frustrated with the monastery. So after every fight, you'd come back to this monastery. You could go and you'd have to go and talk to people. You'd have to kind of look around to find some stuff. You could eat. You could do all these other things. Most of those things are still here. There is an area that you come to between battles. It's called the Somnial. It's much smaller than the monastery. There's a lot of very quick fast travel stuff that goes on, so you can really get around this place.
Yeah, but I mean, this place is more like a Firelink shrine or something like that. Like,
yeah, it's smaller. It's more stripped down. You do continue to unlock new bullshit mini games as you continue to play the game. It's like, hey, do you want to fish now? And I'm like, not really. And they're like, okay, you don't have to. But if you wanted to fish, there's a. Do you guys remember like when you beat Smash Brothers and you'd go into the credit sequence and it'd be like this rail shooter?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's one of those.
Oh god.
That shows up at one point. Is like, hey, do you want to do this? And I did it once. And I'm like, I don't want to do that again. But there really isn't a reason for you to do.
That's not why I'm here.
Yeah, but for the people who do like to just hang out with their Fire Emblem friends, that stuff's there. But it still feels like it's a little less important, and it's still more streamlined than it was in Three Houses. Now, Johnny, you mentioned that it feels a little bit more like Awakening to you, and I think that's a really good pull. It's something that I've been feeling too.
Yes.
So Awakening was what they thought was going to be the last Fire Emblem game. The series had not been selling that well, so like, okay, let's make one more of these and see how it does. And you know what, we're gonna put our all into it. And by put our all into it, we mean we're gonna throw the fucking kitchen sink at this. Let's try to find all of the different mechanics from old Fire Emblem games and put it into one. And it ended up being really popular. Yeah. I feel like they kind of did that again with this one.
But it's the 30th anniversary.
Right. That is kind of the reason that they think, hey, you know, it's an anniversary thing. Let's celebrate
all of these characters.
Totally. And they do. They're like in the story, you have all these different characters from old Fire Emblem games that show up. There are mechanics from old Fire Emblem games that show up, like the weapon triangle. So swords beat axes, axes beat lances, lances beat swords. That comes from old Fire Emblem games that we haven't seen for at least the last two Fire Emblems that have come out. Didn't use the weapon triangle. So they kind of brought that back. It feels like there are a lot of systems in here from previous Fire Emblem games that they just said, yeah, we can find a way to work that in. And so it somehow strikes this balance between being stripped down compared to Three Houses, but also really still complex and deep and interesting and build crafty when you get into it. And I think it's just a really solid balance.
It's a really wild departure for me. Like the last memory I have of Three Houses, like I really liked my time with it. I never felt like I needed to go back to it. So I mean, what I will agree with you in the sense that like I bought the DLC for that and like never touched it. I tried
to go back to the DLC. I was like, I just don't want to keep doing this.
This one seems to be those battles can go on for a bit, which is good. It's a good thing, but it's also a game that like I could just run around home base doing some shit, prepping some stuff. Like if I had a short period of time, like in between a call or something, like maybe I would do that. Maybe I would like work on stat changes, and that sort of tinkering is a lot more meaningful to me than the tinkering that is like figuring out what gift, what social links to do on that game, where I feel like everything that is happening for my social aspect is warranted and earned based off of how I play the game in battle. Like these people do really well next to each other, like, and that benefits. And those types of links, I think, matter more, where I didn't really feel like that was as impactful in Three Houses. And I really like seeing that here as well.
Yeah. I didn't surprise. I didn't finish Three Houses, but a lot of that was because like I'd played Awakening and Echoes before that, and so I had this set expectation in my head. Like
you didn't finish either of those either, though.
I didn't. I played a bunch of them though. I played a bunch of both of those games. And like they basically stripped out all the stuff I didn't want to have to deal with in this one, and so I am just really pleased. But I know that there are people who really love that, like playing through that story, but to me it got in the way of what was truly special about those games, and that is the combat. Like that's like, so tell your story, but let me just let me fight more battles, please. So
You've got 40 plus hours into this, right?
Mm-hmm.
How close are you to beating it?
I don't know. At this point, so you kind of have this map that's basically a big ring, that's split into 4 parts, for 4 different nations. And I've gone around that ring. I just finished the loop of that ring, but there is still stuff happening in the story.
Okay.
I've just gone to all of the, at least basic areas. There are still, I'm sure, places that I will end up going, but I just now got back to Fear and A, which is that kind of that first place you go to that's more of like the verdant plain area.
Cool.
I think the story is pretty weak. A lot of people have been talking about that on Twitter. And other places.
It seems like the weakest part of it.
Yep.
It's just boring. It's really stock standard boring. My character is the chosen one. Blah.
Yeah. I'm this dragon.
Everybody's out for these emblem rings, which are these rings that carry the spirit of a previous Fire Emblem lord in it, like one of the main characters from a previous Fire Emblem game. And so it really is this rinse repeat of go to a new nation, go, hi, I'm the divine dragon, and then go, oh my god, you're the divine dragon? I'm like, yeah, I am.
We love you. You're the best. Ring?
And they're like, oh yeah, you just got to go fight these people first. And I feel like I've done that 3 times, like back to back to back, and that is kind of boring. But then you actually get into the battles and you start getting the rings, and the rings just do some awesome stuff. I think they're a really cool.
They seem really cool.
They're a really cool addition where each of these rings has this spirit in it, and it bestows some stat bumps on whoever holds it. And also you can do this thing called engaging in battle. So you can engage and you kind of turn into a heightened godlike version,
almost like a hybrid of whoever you got there,
whoever it is. So if you're like with Marth from Fire Emblem 1, you'll be able to use his sword, and you can do a special attack that is known to him. It's called the Lodestar Rush. He's got a couple of special skills that only happen when you have him equipped. So you do get these bonuses, but they only last for 3 turns.
Yep.
And then you turn back into yourself. But what you can do, I mean, that helps kind of keep it balanced. So you can't always just be in this super heightened form. You have to recharge it as you play, but you can use it multiple times for battle. You just have to kind of weigh your cooldowns, and you'll get to a point where you have multiple people with rings, and so you can kind of go, okay, this character really needs to live this turn, so I'm gonna engage. I'm gonna let them do their special attack. I'm gonna get them into this heightened mode so they can be more survivable, or so they can get this extra point of damage that I need. And so you don't always have to save them all for the boss, but it's nice to have those extra options when you're in that battle. Now, when you have somebody holding one of those rings, they gained a bond with that ring's character, and then you can go back into the Somnial between missions, and you can further that bond, and at different bond levels, you get different bonuses that are unlocked for you as you hold the ring. But you can also get to a point where you can then inherit those skills and keep them permanently on your character. So then when you pass off the ring, it's kind of a little bit like Chained Echoes with the class, class emblems for that.
The jobs, and you can like keep certain things.
Right. And it's like, okay, so if I get this to a certain point and I pay the in-game price to kind of keep this on my character, now I can toss this ring over to this guy and he can start grinding up
it's smart. It's a smart way to do it. And I gotta say, nice. Like, it's been, I think that the arenas that you find yourself in, the townscapes, are really cool. It's one of the absolute, like, not just this game, but Fire Emblem in general, I think is one of the best strategy games you can play. I think it is. It is incredibly robust, but it's very much approachable. I think that if you are curious about strategy games, like, there's a ton of them out there, but I think that Fire Emblem might be a really great place to start. and I think it does some smart things on like projecting your abilities, your attacks. I think having the rock paper scissor effect here makes it really easy for you to learn, like, hey, I have a sword, that person next to me has this, I'll be best to go against them. And like I think those things are highly obtainable. The story stuff on this one's fine. It's certainly better, I think, than Midnight Suns, but
yeah, I mean it's inoffensive. You're gonna get through the story.
It's just kind of there.
There are some characters that absolutely are bad. They're super twee anime dudes, or there's a girl I met who likes to sing, and I'm like, oh no, I don't like you at all.
God, yuck.
There's certainly some rough ones, but I think again, like you have 30 plus characters you can control. You're gonna find a group that you like and that you vibe with, and I think all of the voice acting for the Emblem rings, so all the previous Fire Emblem Hero people, all that voice acting is really good. They got back some of the old voice actors for voiced Fire Emblem, so like the voice of Celica from Echoes comes back and plays Celica again for this one. I think the people who did Roy and Marth are in Smash Brothers are the people who do Roy and Marth here. All of those people have like this kind of gravitas to their voices. They perform them really well. It feels thematically consistent. And there's a handful of characters that also do that in the real, quote unquote, real world for Fire Emblem. But there's just a bunch of cartoonish ones that really contrast poorly with a lot of the rest of the cast. There's some kind of children characters that are rough. Like Johnny mentioned Yunaka, who's a girl who's got little stars in her hair, and she's
cheek.
Yeah, she's kind of a weird murder girl.
She's got C-3PO legs.
Yeah. And also, your character looks like he has Aquafresh on his head.
Or
like
she or he, or I don't know what they go by, but that they have.
Well, I played as female Lear, which I think the voice actor for female Lear, great, no problem there. But the design is just not good. That two-toned hair is ridiculous. They also have heterochromia, so they've got one red eye and one blue eye. Like this is just too much. It's so distracting.
It looks like an Insane Clown Posse album cover.
It's pretty rough.
They look like they look like a juggalo.
Like I'm 42 hours in, and again, I still can't. Every time I see that hair, I go, nah, that sucks.
Can you put a hat on him?
You can't put a hat. The only thing I've seen that you can do is you can give them Lynn's outfit. Lynn is a character from Fire Emblem 7, and she has her hair in a ponytail. So it puts Lear's hair in a ponytail, and it looks slightly less bad just because it's not splayed out like a big cape on her. And that looks okay, but then it only works in the Somnial. It doesn't work when you're out there in combat, and it doesn't really change.
Is a Lear a VTuber?
Mm-hmm. They're all VTubers. They were designed like the lead character designer has worked on VTubers before. Her name's Mika Picasso, and she's famous for like I've looked at her Pixiv. She's got a really nice art style, but she's also worked on VTubers, and all these characters have a real VTuber look and feel to them, and I don't love it. Again, I think Fire Emblem Echoes is one of the prettiest looking games ever made, with some of the best character design I've ever seen. And so even though I thought Three Houses looked fine, it was still a big step down for me. And then going into this more VTuber look, some of the characters feel okay. They look all right, but a lot of them, especially the twee girl ones that are just not fun to listen to and not fun to see the writing for, they also just have that look of like, fuck, this ain't it. I mean, it is for somebody. Somebody out there. I saw somebody on TikTok talking about Etier, who is one of the early game characters you get, who's an archer. When I played with Etier, I'm like, oh, okay, she's like a little girl archer. That's neat. And then she speaks, and she speaks like she's like, yeah, let's pump some iron, and she's got this like deeper, like not deeper. Too. Yeah, wow. She talks about like just wanting to lift weights, and I'm like, wait, you don't really. That doesn't quite make sense. What's up? What's up with this? But then somebody on TikTok is like, "Oh, I love her. She's awesome. She's, she lifts weights and she looks cute, and that's her whole deal. And I absolutely love it. And that's great. There's so many different characters out there that you're gonna find the ones that you like, and I think that's cool. I've got certain ones I like. I'm a big fan of Jade. I'm a big fan of Lapis.
Yep.
I don't want to say too many of the other ones because they're later game people who you probably haven't even seen yet. Yeah. But I've got a lot of people kind of in the mid game that I've gotten that I'm like, okay, these people fucking rule, and I'm a big fan of quite a few of them.
Yep.
How about you guys? Who have you been playing with a lot?
Vander, my boy.
Vander's really cool.
He's my big tanky boy. I got him. I never took Sigurd off of him because they're just too good together.
Yeah. Vander's interesting. So Fire Emblem games have what's called a Jagan, because in Fire Emblem 1 there was a character named Jagan who you get him at the beginning of the game. He's a pre-promoted unit, so he's already in a higher character class than your other characters, which means he doesn't gain much experience when he fights, but he's just stronger than most of your other characters, and he's mostly there to hurt but not kill enemies, and then let your weaker guys come in and get the final hits so they can gain more experience and they can level up, and eventually they're supposed to get stronger than him. But I think it's really cool that somebody's out there going like, actually, I just like this dude and I'm going to keep rolling with him, and he'll be fine. Like I dropped him very, very early, kind of knowing that was his character archetype and that I had other people I wanted to grind up more. So for somebody to say like, yeah, no, I like Vander. He's cool. I found this neat strategy with him, and you've just been going to town. I think that's rad.
Yeah, he's a general now. I changed his class.
Sure.
He swings a big axe and knocks people down.
That's awesome.
He's so good. He's got this override move where he charges through enemies that are lined up. And is it Roy, I think? Mm-hmm. One of the emblems has an attack whenever you're engaged that sets the 6 square tiles in front of you on fire.
That's Roy.
And so skewer him with Vander and then light him on fire with Roy, and it's just I found some fun
like
ways
to rough go for people
to just fucking route these guys. It's so good.
I like Chloe. I like Anna so far. Like those have been some fun ones for sure.
She's a Griffin.
Yeah, I like her quite
Griffin
a bit.
Knight now. Yeah.
So Anna's a tough one for me because she is kind of that twee. She's the closest thing to a Tiny Tina in this game, which automatically makes me want to hate her. But one, Anna is a character throughout Fire Emblem where, this red-haired girl who's all about money, like she shows up in a lot of different games. So I kind of like Anna based on her legacy. Also, I think she's got one of the best skills in the game where if she kills somebody, they can just kind of, not randomly, but it's based on a luck stat, so it is kind of random, can get you just 500 gold. And I think the economy in this game is, especially in the early mid game, is pretty rough. So having a character who can just net you more cash is pretty good. It doesn't proc all that often, but you can also do things to up that character's luck a ton. Like if you give her the emblem ring for one of the DLC characters, Tiki. Tiki has just a flat stat boost she gives. She gives like 2 extra luck. And then if you gain that bond up to like level 18 or 19, it gets like, oh, by the way, you just get 10 extra luck now. I'm like, okay,
wow.
now I'm just procking the gold thing all the time and
that's
just
awesome.
knocking them around.
I gotta throw her back in my party.
So I know that we can keep talking about this, but we've been at it for a minute with Fire Emblem. We got a quick look going up tomorrow of it as well. Maybe even stream it one night.
I have a feeling that we'll talk about this game for multiple weeks, so we can leave it right there. I'll tell you one thing so far: game of the year.
It's early, but yes.
Yeah, but the problem is, unlike other January games that I really like, I don't think anything is going to beat this one.
Yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of stuff this year that we're all excited about, and hopefully we all get our Fire Emblem Engage later on. Chase, I don't even need to ask for anything else, so we're going to move right over. Yep. I've been checking out a game called The Cycle Frontier. Anybody hear of this game?
Oh, yeah, I did the other night when we played it together.
Yes, it is an extraction shooter. So we've played the DMZ, Call of Duty DMZ mode, Warzone 2.0, whatever you want to call it, on, what was it been? Like weeks ago at this point?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we've played it a few times.
Weeks. Yeah.
And I would say that I've really taken to that style of shooter. Like, I think that
a lot of fun.
They're a ton of fun, first and foremost, but I like there's elements of like the BR nature to them, but there's still like objectives and more PvE stuff, which I really dig. The Cycle.
Yeah, your objective is not necessarily to kill other players that are on the map at the same time as you, and so that relieves a lot of that pressure.
I mean, it is to kind of kill some people, but
but you're not
to outlast every single person. Yeah. And you can do your thing, they can do their thing. If you meet in the middle, you can have a little skirmish, but
and even then, or you can join up together and form a new squad.
You're there to do a job, and that job is not murder every single person you see.
Yes,
if they're robots.
Yes, this one. So the Cycle is it's probably somewhere between Tarkov and DMZ as far as like how deep it goes. This is a free to play game. It's very free to play, and they've got the battle pass and all that stuff in there. But this game has a really cool hub that you go into to start each one of your runs. There's a bunch of different factions that are also vendors, and they're the ones that give you quests and objectives to do. And so as you're out doing that, you're leveling up quest lines for these factions that then let you get more into their inventory, special items. It uses the good, better, best, legendary, etc. loot coloring that you would come to expect. They have cosmetic items you can get for sure, weapon skins, all that stuff's there. So far, the weapons are really, really neat. I've had some that feel a bit more like they all feel very like Halo. It's more Halo weapon than it is Destiny weapons. I haven't seen like any of the exotics yet. I know they're out there and there's certain builds you can get to like really complement it. But I think there's some really fascinating puzzles that I've encountered on like finding more loot on these runs.
Yeah,
the other thing,
what was it? Trying to turn power on to
you had to move batteries and shit.
Yep.
And that opened up the storage facility.
Yeah, and following the wires to see where they go, and maybe there's some platforming you have to do. And then you get some cool loot at the end of it once you figure it out.
I don't want to dump on this game because I don't know anything about it. I haven't even seen it. But my question with a lot of these things is because there are so many of them. Mm-hmm. Do you think this one is going to have staying power? Like last year, I remember you talking about Shatterline, and it seemed like that was a game you guys really dug. And I haven't heard anybody talk about Shatterline for a little bit. Now DMZ, that's got Call of Duty behind it. So
Shatterline is also early access. So like I've been trying to like that kind of. I'm not playing the PvP stuff. That the game's getting updated still. But that's an early access game. They're going to be adding more and more stuff to it, and like I feel like when that's more fully baked and out there, I'll probably go back and do a lot more with it. But this one, like, I don't know if I'm ready for Tarkov. I don't know if I'll ever be ready for Tarkov, but I like extraction games a whole lot. And I think this one
nobody's ready for Tarkov, Bobby.
Yeah.
No.
I
can as someone who has played Tarkov
more.
I can assure you
the Cycle's cool because I think it approaches your inventory and other gear a little bit more in a way that like makes sense to me. Like I prefer this over, so far I would say like the Cycle better than DMZ, but I really like the DMZ too. This is just, it makes me think in ways that I think about in these games when I'm picking up loot, planning out my builds. You have a whole like storage locker back where you're at to like drop in different types of gear to take with it. You can open up chests and stuff and find really cool shit out there in the game. I like it. Johnny and I tried playing it the other night. I think we were both a little too out of it to say. We were a little too zooted, as the kids say, to make it effective. We tried our best, but we're going to do it again. We were going to stream it this Friday, but we decided to do Dead Space and get scared. But that's the Cycle Frontier. It's very cool. It's free to play. I think that's one of the other thing. Like, these games are free to play, so I feel like it's easier for me to drop. Like, same with Shatterline, DMZ, low risk.
Is 0, so go for it.
The other game I did pay some money for, and I don't even know how to say this game. I know Zero, and then
Sievert.
This
is a girl in high school named Sievert.
Oh no, Sievert.
Could be French.
Those French fucks.
I don't know how. I'll put it here in our title, but I can't. I don't think I'm saying this right. I'm from the fucking Midwest. It's a miracle I'm even talking to you all right now. So this is a very different take on extraction games, and this is a top-down pixel art video game, and you are going out and doing these runs, picking shit up, picking up missions. Like, I think this one's probably closer to Tarkov than some of these other ones that we've talked about.
I was looking at the reviews on Steam, and one of them said it's like Tarkov, but I'm having fun.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's very fair. It's $20, I believe. I can't remember the studio that's making it right now.
I
like the look.
It looks good, man.
Abo Studio.
I have not encountered, at least I don't think I've encountered any other real people while playing this game. They've got a bunch of different areas that you get dropped into. You are picking up tasks and contracts for people, again, vendors and things of that nature. This one is a lot more unforgiving than the Cycle. Like, you die pretty quickly in this. The survival aspect early on is there for sure. You can also gear your character out. You have a limited inventory to do things with, but it's a fun game as far as like how you're shooting, using your resources. Like, they've got some cool stuff that built into it. I think the game is got a very addictive quality and an addictive loop to it. I'm just thrilled that we're getting different like styles of these games.
Yeah.
Like, I did not want it to all be like a first person fucking extraction game. Like, I know that there's another one that I got to do an alpha for that like I'm not supposed to talk about, but it was it's basically Fortnite but extraction. Like, it's like more Indiana Jones. So like, people are making these games. I think that they're becoming very, very popular, and I like that we're seeing more of them.
Yeah, it's the next big thing, I guess.
That's what they say, those kiddos out there. Lastly, I checked out a demo for a game that you all need to have on your radar. I don't know if you'll like it, Chase, but I think you'll find it interesting. It's called Moonstone Island, and there's a demo for this game. It's been on my wish list for a bit. This is a creature collector / a farming game / I don't want to say supernatural, maybe supernatural. You are a witch in the game, and you have this gem that your mother gave you that you can enter into, and you can capture creatures. And when you capture the creatures, there's card battling that happens between you and other encounters in the wild. And so that aspect of it seems really fucking cool. The crafting mechanics of it seem really fucking cool, and it's adorable. You're a little witch. You end up getting a broom that you crash, and you have to craft a balloon that you use to get around on instead of the broom. But you fall in this town, and there's like all the things you'd expect from a game like this. So I would say that it's like got a little Stardew Valley. It's got a little Pokemon on its sleeves. It's got
the world design, I think it was just the way this trailer was kind of sweeping through these Vista areas, but it looked like somebody played Super Mario World and said, "What if I made the overworld, but just like 30% more detailed?"
Yeah.
And like the way that had like a waterfall specifically, like that's going over the cheese bridge or whatever.
Hell yeah.
I've got the three starters that they let you have in the demo. One's like it's like an earth type dinosaur. The other one is a fire type sheep, and the third one is an electric type bee. And they do evolve, from what I can tell, or they level up. Designs seem pretty solid. It's a good look. Like, I think there's a lot here. I can see this.
Do your cards correspond to the monster? Like, is it?
Yep.
So it's like when you have a monster, it has a deck or it has certain cards that are associated with it.
And you are unlocking more cards for the monster as it levels up and you do battles. There's a it's like a guard or a shield system, and if you break the shield, the opponent becomes dizzy and they won't attack. Like, that stuff's really cool. But so far there's been like guard, and there's like what am I trying to say? Projecting, like the enemy will be projecting what their next move will be, or forecasting. I'm sorry.
Sure. Okay.
So you can see like they're going to be attacking your shield, and you want to have that down and do those things. So that's really cool. I really dig that. It feels more unique than maybe like a traditional monster catcher battle. Like, you're actually doing some deck building with it. That feels really neat. The farming and crafting, I like that a bit. You get, just like in Stardew, you set up a little box outside of your place and you drop your shit that you're like forging or crafting or building. And there's missions that come with that as well, like upgrades and stuff. It seems very competent. I don't know when. I think it's this year that the full release comes out, but there is a free demo right now on Steam for Moonstone Island. I'm pretty sure this is going to be on everything when it launches. It is a absolute cozy game. I think this is maybe one that I can get Sarah on, by the way. So we'll see. Moonstone Island demo out there now. Very cool.
Downloaded.
Johnny, you've got some games here. What do you want to talk about first?
You guys played that SteamWorld Build demo.
On stream we did.
I did.
I tuned in right at the end of it. But I also played it, and I think this is maybe going to be one of my best surprises of the year, because
it's a hell of a thing.
It was just announced this week, and they put a demo out. It's coming out this year. They didn't say when, but we know it's coming out in 2023, and it is a city builder / dungeon keeper.
Yes.
And
it's not in our news for this week, but we talked about it before, this SteamWorld Telegram thing. It was the only game talked about, right? They said there were other games in development, but they didn't show anything else.
But yeah, they were just showing off this one. And I think my favorite thing about those devs is how unafraid they are to take their universe and try something completely different within it. And like, all of the games that I've played have all been really good. So I expected this to be a lot of fun, and it really knocked my socks off when I played it.
At the time of this recording, their entire SteamWorld catalog is deeply discounted right now. So if you are watching, listening, head to Steam, pick up those games. They're fucking incredible.
SteamWorld Build 2 is one of the best Metroidvanias ever.
And Metroid SteamWorld Heist is just a fantastic turn-based shooter, kind of.
Yeah, turn-based tactical shooter.
Yeah, it's neat. Bobby and I were talking about it on Monday. You mentioned how cool it is that the dev, they were Image and Form and now they're Thunderful Games. How they're unafraid to take their universe into different genres, but they also take different genres and find a way to put a unique twist on things. Like like with SteamWorld Heist, it being a turn-based strategy game, it adds this element of skill to it, where it's not just it's not just dice rolls like almost any other turn-based strategy game would be. It has this element of you still need to hit your shot, you still need to aim and fire, and I think this game also tries to do a unique twist on the city builder by having this overworld where you're building like that seems pretty traditional city builder. You place things, you
need certain houses, you need to have this business which only covers a certain area of the city, so you need to plan where you're going to place the other one, and then
pretty
also
standard SimCity-ish stuff.
Yep.
And then you get to a point where you can go down into this mine shaft, and you see that there's an entire second level underneath your city, where now you're doing a second kind of city builder that is about. It's more like an RTS where you're trying to mine out these areas down below.
You're getting resources that will use you up on the ground,
right? Like both top and bottom areas feed into each other, and you're kind of balancing, and also you can really only see one at a time, so depending on the things that are happening on either one, you can only go so far. I wonder, I didn't see any of it in the demo that we did, but I wonder if there are going to be things. We did see that there was a wall that you can build, so I do kind of wonder if this is going to get to a point where maybe something is under attack, and hey, I'm down here in the mine, shit's happening here, but we're under attack over at the top. That you
there are monsters down below that you will have to fight.
Okay,
I didn't encounter any. It's just I think I read it in a interview or something. So
because that demo doesn't save your progress. I found out, unfortunately.
Okay, oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
What was the factory builder that we talked about on Monday that had like the multiple factories on multiple planets?
Dyson Sphere program.
Yes, yeah. And I felt like there's elements of that in here where you're kind of trying to juggle these two different areas at once. And it reminded me a lot of that Dyson Sphere when Bobby and I looked at that one before.
Yeah, that's been brought up a few times. And I think, Johnny, you've mentioned it to me. Not that game, but just I love factory and automation games. And this is like city builders are in that camp for sure. Like it's a different way of approaching it. And I think you were asking me like, hey, what's been your favorite? And I just haven't played them the way that Johnny did. But I can tell you that like Northgard's really cool, but that's more of like a 4X strategy games. And so like for me, like I've realized I don't know if that genre is like my favorite genre, but I feel like the handshake between that and what I like is a game like SteamWorld Build. Like I feel like that's a city builder genre. That looks maybe a little like a Northgard or a city builder game, SimCity, or but it's not. Like this is definitely more akin to like a SimCity versus like a Northgard, which I'm more for sure.
I also love the look of it.
Oh yeah.
I think first, like this is their first game in 3D. And I think that they absolutely nailed
gunk, my friend.
Was it? Oh, SteamWorld game. It's the first SteamWorld game in 3D.
Yeah.
But I think that they totally nailed like how that universe should look.
That's the best part of that whole experience is that one that you can just move your buildings. You don't have to demolish them and rebuild them somewhere.
Yes,
that's great. But when you move a building, it has a fun little rubbery wobble as you move it.
Yes,
I love it. I love it so much.
That animation so much.
That's such a good, juicy.
Being able to just move the stuff the way they have is what I love the most about it. You lose nothing to move something, which is great.
Yeah. No,
it's really good
for it. Like as a person who doesn't play these games, like we talked about on Monday, SimCity on the SNES is like the one for me. That's the only city builder I've really considered playing. I bought City Skylines and never played it. I don't know if it's on the backlog roulette or not, but it might be. Something I've considered playing for a long time. But this game seems like it's got the ability to hook me in a way that city builders in general just do not. So I'm pretty interested. I want to see more of it.
I want to know when it comes out.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I played that. That got me really excited. And then there's a game that Bobby cruelly sent me a Steam link for that I already had on my wish list. But
who's the monster now?
There's a base building sale happening on Steam right now, and those types of games, your Crusader Kings, your Dwarf Fortresses, tickle my brain in a very particular way, and this is one of those games. So this is a roguelite base builder, so it's run based, which is unusual.
Huh.
Like you kind of just play, like, in Civ, like you're trying to get a culture win or military victory, things like that. But this is like it's dark fantasy. There are beavers, there are lizards, and there are humans. And each
when
one
I think of dark fantasy, the first thing I think of beavers.
Is it a city builder or is it a more of a 4X?
No, it's a city builder because you have like shelters and different workshops and things like that. But you also like all of these creatures have different things that they're better at. So the beavers are really proficient when you send them to the woodcutter's hut, and the humans are really good at cooking.
Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And the lizards are really great at a certain type of crafting. So like as you're unlocking these buildings, you're trying to assign like the specific race that will give you a bump in proficiency. And the way that it tutorializes is really interesting because it starts with like, okay, you need to get this done. Okay, really good job. We're going to introduce a few more of the mechanics to you now, and we want you to hit this goal. And like there's 3 phases to it, so they're not just kind of plopping you in and expecting you to figure out how all of this works. It really, like, you get a basic understanding for the foundation, and they layer it, and it gets gradually more and more complicated, and you have to keep these people happy. If they get unhappy, they might revolt, and
we don't want that.
Yeah, and the whole time you have this timer called the Queen's Ire. So you're here in service of this queen. Things are really bad. It's raining all the time. The world's about to end, but you're just trying to scrape by, and that accrues so much per minute. And there are these different glades that are like, so it's all forest, but there's these little foggy patches. And you cut down the trees, and you might find like a new resource or an artifact or something valuable. And then there are more dangerous ones that have like a certain task you need to complete within a set amount of time, or 5 of your villagers will die. It's really cool.
That sounds really. I mean, it's got a cult following. I knew it would be your type of bullshit.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna download it and check it out. But it does look neat.
In the music, like it's got this real like ambient, like kind of soft instrumental stuff happening that just syncs up with the rain really nicely. So like even though it's like very bleak, and I'm ultimately I'm gonna lose, like it's just chill. It's just a chill fucking game. I love it. I'm probably gonna play a lot more of it. And then lastly, the last thing I played actually is a game that got announced and released today. Called Hi-Fi Rush. This is from the same studio that made Ghostwire Tokyo and The Evil Within.
Wow.
And so...
And you can tell. Just take one look at it, and you'll be like, "Oh, yeah, obviously."
That makes absolute sense. So yeah, when I learned it was that same studio after seeing the trailers, because it's this really bright, colorful comic book style.
Like the way I described it to Johnny. I mean, he showed it to me, but the way I described it was it's like Sunset Overdrive meets the TV show Archer.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
And it is a rhythm game. It's a third-person action rhythm game where you're playing as this young guy named Chai, and the way that I am really bad at rhythm games. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
I don't have any rhythm. But each time you attack, it automatically hits it on the beat. But if you actually hit it on the beat, you do a little bit more damage, and the enemies will drop a little bit more of the like upgrade
they'll drop
items.
the beat a little bit more.
Yeah, so it's not punitive. You know, it encourages you to try and get it on the beat, and actually, if you hit the select button, it brings up like something that shows you, so you can try and time your attacks if you're having trouble just doing it on your own.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like something happens where like this kid, he moves to the beat of everything. It's actually pretty funny. And
he's got an iPod in his chest.
He does, yeah. Okay, I couldn't remember if they showed it off in the trailer or not.
Yeah.
And
he's like a musical Tony Stark.
Exactly.
There it is. Musical Tony Stark. Jesus Christ.
I only played it for like 15 minutes, just to get a taste of it. But I think that the art style is really striking. Like it's got a really cool style, I think. And also, the writing in it is a little goofy, but in a way that embraces the universe that like the game is taking place in. And it feels like it fits for like what they're doing in game, and it doesn't feel. There's another game that came out earlier this week that's being kind of skewed for being cringe or like not taking itself super seriously and like making fun of itself, but not in a way that, you know, it feels like it's not taking the world that it's in seriously.
Fire Emblem Engage.
Exactly. Friend of the show, Austin Walker, wrote a little thesis about it, and I think it really like nailed on the head like what I felt when I played the demo. And it feels like Hi-Fi Rush is going for a similar like
we're talking about Forspoken.
Yeah, you never said what it was.
We should probably say
Hi-Fi Rush is going for like a silly, you know, like not necessarily overly like snarky, but
it's a silly world, so having like a silly character isn't so
it's done in earnest.
Weird.
That's what I was looking for.
Yes, like the whole thing is earnestly silly, which is fine. I think again, like with Forspoken, and I didn't play the demo of Forspoken. I've only seen the clips that people show, which are probably the game at its worst. But that feels like just this incongruous character that just needs to laugh and joke their way through what seems like a relatively serious situation in a way that can grate on people, I can imagine. So, especially in those clips.
Yeah, not to take a big stinky dump all over Forspoken. It's just like when I was playing that,
I think other people are doing quite enough of that.
The comparison popped up in my head, and I was like, okay, this I enjoy. So
the thing you haven't mentioned though is being a rhythm game. The music choices seem interesting in that it's all like mid 2000s music.
It opens up with "Lonely Boy" by the Black Keys.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't mad about. I like that song.
I mean, hey, that's the era of music when I was in high school. So like that is an era of music that I hold near and dear to my heart, even though I can look back at it being 33. Am I 32 or 33? Fuck it, I don't fucking know. But I can look back on it now and go, yeah, that music kind of sucks, but it sucks in a way that I love deeply.
Hell yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to download it and check it out. I think it's from a style standpoint alone. And, you know, I'm
Game
always...
Pass, so
it's Game Pass and a stealth release, which I like a whole lot.
Yeah.
That's a fun time.
It's not Starfield, but I'll take it.
I was close. I did have that bingo card marked, that would like.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the rest of what happened in that Xbox Direct here in the news section, which I guess is coming up now.
Guys, pour one out for the Avengers. They're disassembling.
No, I don't know why they didn't flush this turd down the drain long ago.
This whole thing. I know the game is not great, but it feels like the way they're killing this game is also stupid.
Yeah.
Why is everything around this game so fucking stupid?
I don't know. Why couldn't they capitalize on the popularity of
you said it
like
when we were playing
Avengers?
Yeah, you're like, how bad does a game that is on the Avengers and this era have to be to fail? Like, this could have been a huge game. Huge.
So what exactly is happening, Johnny?
The game will stop being updated later this year. It will also stop being sold, so you won't even be able to buy it anymore. They're also going to give away all of the cosmetic DLC, which people have potentially paid a lot of money for.
Oh my god!
But hey, you know what? That is the right thing to do. If you're ceasing
that specific
support,
part,
yeah.
But the thing that I've heard from people is, well, if you're gonna take away all the extra, it's not a gotcha exactly, but if you're gonna take away all the little microtransaction shit out of it, and just give all that to people, why are you taking it off sale? Why wouldn't you just keep it on sale? And if people want to go and buy the game and experience the stuff, they can. I don't know if it is a licensing issue of maybe just with the Marvel license, they're like, well, you know, we can only keep this up for so long and we're not going to keep supporting it, so we're just going to kill it entirely. But I mean, I don't give a fuck about this game, and it sounds like it's a bad game all around.
Yeah,
so
and also like
kind of a big loss, but that does suck that, hey, if you buy it in this very specific time period, well, then you can get all this shit for free, but then you're shit out of luck if you don't get it.
Well, they want the player count to die so they can justify shutting down the servers.
I think that
does that game require a server thing to work at all?
You have to be you have to be online. I feel there's been even public comments from Kevin Feige about Phase 4, and this game happened to fall right in the midst of all that. The Avengers literally had been no more. Like, when this game came out, like, they were done. Oh, they weren't done, but that story arc was done. Like, this game was late to the party.
But still,
I think that they're just trying to move away from. I think Marvel is very aware that this is a failure, and the more that this game misses deadlines on adding more characters and other things, it's just one other bad story for Marvel out there that I could see them be like, just fucking pull the plug, get it done, get it over with. It's a loss.
Flush that turd down the drain.
From a preservation standpoint, I think it sucks that we just eventually lose games in this era, this online requirement era. There's just games that you're just not going to be able to play anymore, and the only way that you'll be able to even experience them is through reviews and streams and YouTube stuff, and that's not the same thing as playing these games. So even though this isn't, it's not something I'm going to put on a pedestal, it still feels shitty to just have a game that you can
an old Yeller moment with it. Yeah,
it's like tears in the rain.
Yeah.
Johnny,
well, that would never happen with a console, though, right?
No.
Consoles are forever.
What's going on at Microsoft?
They're laying off about 10,000 people. And that is throughout the organization. But it also hit 343. It hit Bethesda.
They haven't said how many of that number is in those areas, right? I don't
believe so.
Okay.
But yeah, it sounds like it'll be over the next several months. This will be happening. And as far as like severance packages or whatever, it's as good as you could hope for, I guess. I think people are going to get paid for like 6 months. They'll get like their stocks that haven't vested yet are going to vest or something like
that's good.
Yeah, like it fucking sucks because people are losing their jobs.
I don't
so you're saying they didn't just come into work one day and swipe a card to see whether they have a job or not?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, that seems better.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously sympathies go out to anyone who is affected by this. It's one of many companies that have been laying off people.
Man, it has really been going around lately.
Yeah. Real
It's
real bad.
there. I mean, goddamn, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but I'm going to a little bit. It's been hard to not be fucking depressed by what's happening. It's just like we've been hearing about this shit for years now. We're in a recession that's coming. It's like you hear like the pandemic this, and it's fucking crazy.
Those companies made so much fucking money. Those executives make so much fucking money. Like, and not just break even, like billions of dollars in the bank. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems to be happening a lot right now in both the tech sectors and the journalism sectors, and especially the tech journalism sectors. Like the Washington Post just like deleted their entire video game vertical that they had going on. Like there's a ton of places just cutting jobs, and it's man, it is really shitty, and especially when things like Johnny were mentioning of record profits, and then also we're cutting 10,000 jobs. Like, well, how do those two things square?
They gotta show some growth for the next quarter, Chase.
It's
those shareholders will be fucking pissed.
These things are fucking gut wrenching, heartbreaking to see. It's the same fucking bullshit out there. Like these were companies that are obviously like seeing increases on their own personal debts with the inflation costs. They have money to spare, but because of that and their operating costs are going to be like, well, rather than spending our war chest, we're going to cut our losses, and that fucking sucks. And it's like, it's just dumb, man. It sucks so bad, and it's seemingly like we're now entering or have been entering, but it's like here now, like coming into it. It's just the timing kind of sucks because we're coming up on 3 years past COVID in March. And like that's a weird fucking time period still for me to think about. Like, hey, we're entering into February.
This, huh?
Yeah, like February was like the last month before
2020 was 3 years ago. Are you fucking kidding me?
I know, man. It's bonkers.
Oh
it's
God,
a depressing
there's an election next year. Oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's going to be fun. Again, like Johnny said, heart goes out to all the workers. You just wonder what would have happened if they had all been a little bit more hardcore,
Yep.
Maybe this wouldn't have happened.
Wish they would have cared about having the ball in their court a little bit more,
Okay.
Johnny.
Yeah.
Things are still dying.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Okay. Why are we talking about Stadia again?
Because it's officially dead.
You know what? I just put it in there because I wanted to say this. I wanted to say Stadia is dead. Long live Stadia. Moving on.
Okay.
GoldenEye 007 is coming to the Nintendo Switch Online.
Now we're talking.
Plus expansion pack and Xbox Game Pass on January 27th.
Is that going to be a stream, you think?
That could be.
Yeah, I could totally see that being something we stream out at some point.
Slappers only, no odd job?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, odd job seems like he's fair play now if we have dual stick controllers. Like, it's not a problem like it was back in the day. I do wonder, they showed off, so Nintendo first showed off the trailer this morning, and that looked different. I think it looked different than the trailer that Xbox showed off later that day. I mean,
Xbox has the HD one, right?
Yeah, so it is a higher res version. I don't know if the feature set is different. Like the Xbox trailer showed 4-player split screen multiplayer, and Nintendo did not. So I'm wondering if maybe that one doesn't have the local.
Wasn't there something around that?
Online, but I don't know if it has the local 4-player split screen.
One of them didn't have the other thing. I remember that being like
Xbox One doesn't have online.
That's it.
Nintendo would not let them do that.
Correct. That's what it was. Okay.
So they're not the same version of the game, but they're both coming out the same day, January 27th. So that's soon. That's real soon. That's when you're listening to this podcast. It's out. I'm pretty excited. I really like 007 GoldenEye.
Yes.
That's a fantastic single player game, and I mean multiplayer as well.
Dude,
I'm sure the multiplayer holds up a
that
little less today, but the single player is still fucking great.
is that the best video game menu music of all
Yes.
time?
Yeah, it's kind of great.
It's kind of up there, right?
Also, if you do have if you want the Xbox version, if you do have a digital copy of Rare Replay, you just get this for free. That was something they announced before, but it's still true now. So that's pretty cool. Again, you have to have the digital version of Rare Replay, but that's kind of a cool bonus that hey, this thing was supposed to be about all the Rare games that they made, and here's one more Rare game, and now it's free.
Very rare.
Have it. Pretty cool.
Johnny, what else we got?
Xbox had their developer showcase today.
Yes.
I already talked about Hi-Fi Rush. That got shadow dropped today, but they also went over some other stuff. That Minecraft Legends game, the PvP like tower defense type game they're making in the Minecraft world. They showed that off. Did you guys watch the trailer for that?
I have not.
I think it looks like a lot of fun.
Okay.
So you're building fortifications, and then someone tries to assault your fortress, and you have to defend it.
Is it PvP or PvE?
PvP.
The whole thing is.
I believe so. Yes. So I don't know if there's a single player mode. They really seem focused on the PvP aspect of it.
Okay.
And that looks really cool. If you guys haven't watched the trailer for it, I would highly recommend it. They showed off the new Forza, which is just Forza Motorsport, and it looks, those wheels, guys.
Are they round?
Are they round?
Real fucking round.
Oh, nice.
Let me tell you.
God, I love a good round wheel.
So this is their like next gen racer, and it's going to run 4K 60 FPS with ray tracing turned on the Series X, I believe. And I wish I liked the Super Simi racers more, because it's going to be on Game Pass, so I'm going to check it out, but I know I won't play nearly as much of it as I would if it were a New Horizon game.
I think the last one I played was Forza 4.
And that was for me too.
And I liked Forza 4. Like there was something kind of nice. I mean, it was, yes, it's a sim, but I think it has enough of those driver assists that you can play around with, that you can feel. It's not going to feel like an arcade game, but it can definitely feel looser than you might think. And I had a great time playing Forza 4, and again, goddamn round wheels, man. They're so fucking round.
They're so round.
They're so very round.
And shit, where'd my window go? Here it is.
We got 10 minutes of Redfall.
Yeah, we did. Sorry, there's no date on that yet. It's just
okay.
I thought Minecraft was April.
Or no, it is April. I'm sorry.
No, that's date. Here, I'll pull it up.
Forza or Redfall?
Answer the man.
Minecraft Legends is the one that they didn't give a firm date for.
Okay.
And then
so Forza comes out in April. That's what you're saying.
Okay. ESO, there's a new expansion, and then they showed off 10 minutes of Redfall gameplay. And after watching that, I am way more interested in that game than I was before. So this is.
I haven't watched it yet, but that is the consensus that I've heard so far, is that turned a lot of people's opinions on Redfall for the better.
Yeah, I was kind of like, who gives a shit about this game? That comes out May 2nd. It is solo or co-op, up to 4 people. And Bobby, you asked me earlier if it was like Left 4 Dead, but with vampires. I don't think that it quite fits that description, because there were several encounters where it was just the player versus a vampire. It didn't seem like there were necessarily huge hordes like there would be in a Left 4 Dead game. But I think like that type of, like, we're going from place to place, we're grabbing loot, we're fighting off these monsters, like, it definitely fits that.
Yeah.
And after watching this, I'm like we should stream this
Oh,
together.
yeah. I mean, I kind of figured we would. Game Pass,
Yeah.
Arcane, like all that for sure.
Yeah, and people love Arcane, and
Yeah.
it's always exciting whenever they have a new game coming out. And
Did they? Sorry, go ahead. I have a
No,
separate question. Okay. Did they not show off anything? Has nobody said anything about Contraband lately?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Because that game, they showed it at the same E3 or the same. Was it E3 or was it a different press con? I think it was E3.
Who's making that?
I can't remember. But like they showed that off at they announced at the same time they did Redfall, and we haven't heard anything more about Contraband. In fact, when somebody said Redfall, I was thinking Contraband. So now I'm even less excited about Redfall, remembering what Redfall is. But I still haven't seen that trailer. So
yeah, there was a trailer in 2021.
Okay. I don't know. Contraband sounded kind of neat with the kind of heisty 4-player heisty stuff, especially coming from Avalanche. That sounds.
I remember this trailer now. This was kind of their like payday, right?
Yeah, kind of. Didn't have like the Rolling Stones song.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Behind it. Yeah.
Not a whole lot was shown. It was like very much.
Yeah. So anyway. Yeah, this game's radar article about Contraband from November. There's no.
Okay. Sorry to derail us. I just kind of connect Contraband and Redfall together.
No, you're good.
Because of the announcements.
So I would assume that's probably not coming out this year. Finally.
Okay. Speaking of not coming out,
the day before is supposedly a video game.
Oh, you mean the video game?
Yes. So this story is so odd.
It's only getting odder. It's getting odd.
The only thing I know about this game is that it has the Last of Us font in the title screen. That's the only thing I know. I don't even know what this game is. What is the day before, or what was the day before?
It's
an
MMO
survival.
Okay.
And it got delayed by 9 months because they forgot to file a trademark for their game, and someone else claimed it.
Not only that.
They also pulled it from Steam.
Not only that.
Yeah.
This month specifically, or either right at the beginning of February or now, they were going to be showing their like raw gameplay for the first time, because they haven't shown that. They've like had it like gameplay cutscenes and shit, but they were going to show that off. And in this delay, they have also said that's been delayed. And there's other stories from I was reading about their like Discord mods that are like, we've not seen anything for this game.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Skill Up from YouTube posted several takes on this, including screenshots of the Discord mod, saying, "I don't know if this thing's real." So
it's a mess.
Feels like this is a scam somehow.
But they haven't taken any money yet from us.
Yeah, it's like actually taking pre-orders. How can it be a scam if there's no game?
What was that one?
Star Citizen?
No.
Skull and Bones.
No. It was the
Beyond Good and Evil.
No, it was like some studio that people were like, "Is this actually Kojima? Is this his secret studio?"
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the game.
It has that same kind of energy. Like, this feels like a scam somehow, maybe. Or maybe these people are just really stupid.
The game basically looks to me like, hey, what if The Last of Us fucked The Division?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what this is. And
that could be fun.
That could be very fun. Like, everything that I've seen for this game had me super excited.
Maybe that's what The Last of Us multiplayer game is going to be.
Maybe that's what the trademark infringement was upon.
Ooh, Neil Druckmann's out here.
He's out there making big moves, taking out these little guys like he needs it.
How
anyway,
was the second episode? I haven't watched it yet.
Oh my god, dude!
Quite good.
Okay. Quite good. They fucking did it again, man. Like
opener.
That, like that is what I can't stop thinking about. Is they did another cold open, and I just like fucking.
Well, as masters of cold opens, we would know what a good one is.
Exactly.
Well, I put two and two together that when I remember that the Chernobyl team is behind this, and that was the one thing that like blew me away by Chernobyl was one, like I didn't realize how hidden those events were, and now like seeing how that show Chernobyl built tension and a horror about what happened. Like I was terrified about what happened by the end of that, and I think we go through The Last of Us so hyper fixated on like the emotional ties that what happened is really not the problem in the game, but they've made something that is equally as emotionally terrifying with the changes to the origins of it. It's great, man. I can't wait for you to check out that. It's so good. It's so good.
Nice.
All right, let's wrap it up here, Johnny. Thank you for taking us through all of the news. There was a lot of it there that was juicy. A little change to our week, as I mentioned earlier. It's just been a rough go for me for a little bit. We did not stream Monster Train on Monday night because SteamWorld Build came out. We did that. That was a lot of fun. The Fire Emblem Quick Look, unfortunately, did not get through post in time, so that's going up tomorrow morning. And we lost
the trademark for it.
We lost the
delayed
trademark
by 9 months. Sorry, guys.
Fuck.
Control Alt Ego will go up next week. And then this Friday night, Johnny, is it tomorrow that it comes out, the remake for Dead Space?
No, I think it's Friday.
Okay, so we're gonna check out
at like 11.
Yeah,
we're gonna check out that new remake of Dead Space on stream Friday night. Chase may join us; he may be in chat, but that is the plan right now. All of this
cut
can
off
change.
some limbs.
Yeah. If you want to follow along with all those things, you can do so in chat. We've got a couple more Twitch streams lined up for you. Got a quick look going up tomorrow. We've got a different next week, however. Johnny is going to be off the show next week. Yay! But in his absence, Chase, who do we have?
A friend of the show, Mr. Jiggy-san himself, is going to be joining us for our February preview and also my second spinning of the backlog wheel. That'll be fun.
Yep. And so we'll figure out what Friday looks like next week. I could be solo. We'll find out for sure. But that's the current plans for us. Chase, what are the plans for you?
Yeah, I've been talking up this next episode of Pilot Program that was scheduled to record tomorrow night. That might not happen now because of my co-host's schedule. So we'll see. If it doesn't happen, we'll push it back a week and see what happens. But I do have some new content out there in honor of the SteamWorld Telegraph and the SteamWorld news that's been going on. I went back and I made another episode of my SteamWorld Heist Let's Play, Cowbots and Aluminum. And that is up on my Chase K Plays YouTube channel right now. You can find it at that link tree that Bobby has put in the chat. That game continues to just be really good, and I need to get back on it and start playing it more regularly so I can finish it and then play other games I'm really excited about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We will be back at it Friday night with a spooky time. But before we get to that spooky time, Johnny, what books have you read?
I have about 400 pages of Oathbringer, book 3 of the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson left to read. Hoping to get through it.
Little Brando Sando action.
Yep.
Nice.
Fantasy.
Come back and hang out with us on Friday night while Johnny and Bobby get scared. Play something new, take care of yourselves, and we will chat with you all very soon.